Fisher-Price has been known for quality in children's products. That same dedication to quality can now be found in the Fisher-Price Home Entertainment Library. The collection includes delightful children's entertainment, like Paddington's Birthday Bonanza, starring Paddington Bear, that silly bear who can't keep his snout out of trouble. Brown Bear's Wedding, the beautiful, funny, and romantic tale of Brown Bear's bumbling courtship, nominated for 5 Emmy Awards. And The Berenstain Bears Play Ball, and The Berenstain Bears and Cupid's Surprise, 2 great animated stories based on the best-selling children's books. Fabulous excursions, including a day at the zoo and a hot air balloon festival, all great live-action trips kids will want to watch again and again. Fun education, including Character Builders, a series designed to help develop positive character traits, using intriguing stories like Bouncer the Rabbit and Benny Bear. And I Love Dinosaurs, a new series introducing preschoolers to the fantastic world of dinosaurs. Magical Christmas tales filled with delightful stories for the whole family to enjoy. Stories like A Christmas Carol, the Oscar-winning adaptation of Dickens' Christmas classic, narrated by Michael Redgrave. And Barney's Christmas Surprise, with that starstruck sheepdog Barney in a special holiday story. Parenting Tips, featuring the acclaimed 3-part Touchpoint series with Dr. T. Barry Brazelton, the baby doctor for the 90s. The Fisher-Price Home Entertainment Library. At last, a children's home entertainment collection with the quality worthy of Fisher-Price.
Long ago, dinosaurs ruled the world. Some dinosaurs were small, and others were big. But some dinosaurs were very, very big. These huge dinosaurs were the biggest creatures ever known to walk the earth. One of these giant dinosaurs was Brontosaurus. Its name means thunder lizard. A full-grown Brontosaurus had a huge body that was 70 feet long and 20 feet tall. It had 4 thick legs, a long tail, a long neck, and a very small head. Scientists have another name for Brontosaurus. They call this huge dinosaur Apatosaurus. Many of the biggest dinosaurs were plant eaters. Brontosaurus may have eaten the tops of trees, raking in the leaves with its long, thin teeth. Brontosaurus probably didn't chew its food. It may have swallowed it whole, just like a bird. A bird swallows gravel and uses it to grind up food inside its body. Perhaps Brontosaurus did the same when it swallowed plants close to the ground. But instead of gravel, it would have swallowed whole rocks. Brontosaurus probably wasn't very smart. It didn't have to be. Because of its huge size, it must have had very few enemies. Allosaurus, a great meat-eating dinosaur, might have tried to catch and eat Brontosaurus. But a full-grown Brontosaurus could have used its long, heavy tail and sharp thumb claws to defend itself. Things were very different for a baby Brontosaurus. Its world was full of danger. To protect her young, the mother Brontosaurus laid her eggs in large mud nests and watched over them until they hatched. Brontosaurus probably lived in herds, the way elephants do today. Their young would have stayed in the middle of the herds for safety. And like elephants, Brontosaurus may have wallowed in pools and swamps to keep cool. Although it may have been very, very big, Brontosaurus wasn't the biggest dinosaur of all. Some dinosaurs were even longer, like Diplodocus and Mamenchisaurus. And some dinosaurs were taller, like Brachiosaurus and Supersaurus. And don't forget about Ultrasaurus. Ultrasaurus was so big that it made most other dinosaurs look small. It stood 60 feet tall and was 100 feet long. Scientists found the bones of Ultrasaurus in a desert in the western part of the United States. The scientists found only the Ultrasaurus's leg bones. They used the bones to determine how big the dinosaur was. This is what scientists think a whole Ultrasaurus skeleton looked like. Was Ultrasaurus the biggest dinosaur of all? Maybe not. Recently, the bones of another giant dinosaur called Seismosaurus were discovered in New Mexico. It may have been the biggest creature ever to walk on Earth. Could there have been even bigger dinosaurs? Perhaps their bones are waiting to be found deep in the Earth. Maybe someday, you might be the one to find them. A special kind of beast lived very long ago. Its different forms and names are very good to know. So gather round and listen to their screeches and their roars. And you, in fact, will learn about the day of the dinosaur. Long ago, long ago, before many things we now know, before cities, towns and roads, before people, before birds, frogs and toads, long before, it was the day of the dinosaur. Some were small, as big as your cat. Some were thin. And others fat. Some were big, very big. The giant Brontosaurus was 70 feet tall. Its name means thunder lizard. It was the biggest one of all. Dinosaurs roamed all the earth, places far and near. But now that they are gone, how do we know they were here? We know it from the skeletons they have left behind, buried in the earth for scientists to find. The bones, which we call fossils, tell us much about the dinosaur. They tell us its size and shape. They tell us much, much more. They tell us Tyrannosaurus Rex was huge and fierce and strong, with terrible quick jaws and teeth 6 inches long. Its ferocity was famous. It has long been told of. What did Tyrannosaurus eat? Whatever it got hold of. But sometimes Tyrannosaurus bit off more than it could chew. The armored Stegosaurus was pretty mighty too. Its back was armor-plated. Its tail was tipped with spikes. It's very reckless not to duck when Stegosaurus strikes. Brachiosaurus's nostrils were atop its head. They let it breathe while sleeping in its water bed. Dimetrodon was a carnivore, which means its food was meat. Its great and splendid back sail was used to take in heat. The creature Pteranodon had a 20-foot wingspan, one of the biggest flyers ever since the Earth began. It had a 4-foot bill and very lofty crest. When it comes to flying reptiles, it was the biggest and the best. Archaeopteryx is not an easy word, but neither was it easy being Earth's first bird. After dinosaurs came other kinds of creatures. They also had amazing body parts and features. The saber-toothed tiger, of course, had saber teeth. The prehistoric rhino had rows of horns above and giant tusks beneath. The moa was a flightless bird. It stood 13 feet tall. It had gigantic drumsticks, but its brain was very small. The flightless moa is now extinct. In other words, there are no moa. But it no longer is the day of the dinosaur. Except as fossil bones, they exist no more. They are now extinct. Sometimes we wonder why. Were there just too many for the food supply? Was there a great disaster? Or did it get too dry? It's the sort of questions scientists like to think about. Maybe you'll be a scientist. Maybe you'll be the one to figure it out. Many of the dinosaurs that lived long ago were strange-looking creatures. Some had long necks and tails. Others had huge heads with jaws full of pointed teeth. Many had sharp claws on their feet and odd horns on their heads. But the strangest-looking dinosaur of all was Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus had a tiny head and a huge body. It could have grown as large as 24 feet long and 12 feet tall. The long spikes on its tail and the large flat plates all along its back set Stegosaurus apart from most other dinosaurs. Ever since scientists discovered Stegosaurus, they have wondered why it had those odd features. Stegosaurus probably used its sharp tail spikes to protect itself from large meat-eating dinosaurs like Ceratosaurus. When attacked, Stegosaurus could swing its tail to chase the meat-eater away. Stegosaurus's backplates may have been used to cool the giant dinosaur when it got too hot. A cool breeze blowing across the plates could have carried heat away from Stegosaurus's body. Stegosaurus also had a horny beak that it used to pull up the plants it ate. Stegosaurus's teeth were small but sharp, and the dinosaur used them to chop its food into tiny pieces. Stegosaurus's giant body needed a lot of food, but its mouth was very small, so it must have had to eat nearly all the time to get enough food. Inside Stegosaurus's small head was a very small brain. It was no bigger than a golf ball. Compared to other dinosaurs, Stegosaurus may have had one of the smallest brains for its body size. Stegosaurus may have had a tiny brain, but it had large nerve bundles in its shoulders and hips. These helped Stegosaurus move the muscles in its legs and tail quickly and easily. Stegosaurus was not the only strange-looking dinosaur in the stegosaur family. Tuhuangosaurus was similar to Stegosaurus, but its backplates were long and narrow. Kentrosaurus was smaller than other stegosaurs, but it had many long spikes on its body. It may have used them to defend itself, just as a porcupine uses its sharp quills today. Scelidosaurus may have been the ancestor of all the other stegosaurs. It had many small backplates, but no spikes. Scientists first discovered the bones of Stegosaurus more than 100 years ago in the western United States. At first, scientists weren't sure just how Stegosaurus's plates were arranged on its back. They had a lot of different ideas. Many scientists now believe that Stegosaurus's plates were in 2 overlapping rows. Scientists eventually decided that Stegosaurus's skeleton looked like this. While Stegosaurus was large, probably slow, and perhaps not too bright, there were other animals in its world that were small, quick, and smart. These were the early mammals. They looked something like mice or opossums with long tails and furry bodies. These mammals may have helped kill off the dinosaurs by stealing and eating their eggs. Most of the stegosaurs did not live till the end of the age of dinosaurs. They may have been crowded out by the ankylosaurs. These armored dinosaurs were much like stegosaurs and could have eaten the food that the stegosaurs needed. The only stegosaur to survive until the end of the age of dinosaurs was Dravidosaurus. Dravidosaurus lived in what is now the country of India. At that time, India was an island where there were no ankylosaurs to push the stegosaurs out. Here, the last of the stegosaurs may have lived and died.